Testing. All right, well, we're live. So, got a couple more interesting updates on what's happened here in city of LA, and I'll start off with probably the most interesting, which was the federal criminal case against former LA Deputy Mayor um, Brian K. Williams, who made a bomb threat to City Hall, and basically he pleaded guilty. He was supposed to be sentenced today at 1:30 p.m. But the problem is that the judge presiding over his case had a major conflict of interest. The judge knew him from school and had also worked with him previously, and so wouldn't you know it, out of nowhere today, the judge ended up recusing himself from the case, and no new judge has been assigned. The presiding judge was simply publicly declaring that he needed to recuse himself for conflict of interest and to not show impropriety. Interestingly enough, it was something that many other people had talked about as a possibility. The fact that it was just now announced was interesting. The explanation that the judge presiding over the case provided is that he never reads any of the plaintiffs, any of the defendants or plaintiffs' names generally, and so in his defense, he was saying that it wasn't until just today, moments ago, before the case was heard, that he saw who the actual defendant was, realized that he knows the defendant quite well and personally, and therefore needed to recuse himself. So at least they did so. At least they publicly declared that was happening, rather than just continuing to try the case. So no new date was given. No new judge was given for the case. All we know is that the case was continued and the judge recused himself. Moving on to some other interesting finds. So today there was supposed to be a 2 o'clock meeting for the City Council Committee on Civil Rights, and for, I don't know, the bajillionth time now, they have canceled without any due notice. A shirt guy was there, I was there, George was there, and they ended up canceling the meeting just like that at the snap of the fingers. I'm going to be writing a complaint letter because they're not supposed to do this, and some committees naturally just meet once every 2 weeks. It's been months now that the Civil Rights Committee hasn't met and continues to just cancel its events. And so the problem here is that, what people are suspecting is that all the stuff that's gone on in the Judge Carter case, with the damning testimony where Szabo was testifying that there's no due diligence taken on the side of the city to verify, or excuse me, to take any sort of information on how the person became homeless in the first place, some of the other general basic intake information. We know for a fact that none of that work is ever done by any of these homelessness and alleviation programs. My guess is they don't want people attending the Civil Rights Committee to voice their public comment and put it on the record that people are fed up, and so they just continue to cancel. They likely hold what's called strategy meetings, which are not necessarily meetings that need to be open to the public, but they do count towards official decisions they make on some of these programs, allocating money and so forth. And so that was actually explained as some of the testimony during the Judge Carter federal civil case brought forward by the Alliance, that in fact many of these council committees do just that, and even many of these deputies from the mayor's office do just that. Rather than holding official public hearings like they're supposed to, they instead have these special private, what they call strategy meetings, and in these strategy meetings they're actually making official decisions on what to do with budgets allocation of some of this grant money, application for some of these grants, even the decision to approve the official application for some of these grants are all happening in these private so-called strategy meetings rather than the official public hearings. And that's just one of many damning testimony given by Szabo, by the mayor, the chief deputy mayor overseeing homelessness initiatives, personally hired by Mayor Karen Bass herself. And so this is what's going on in the city of LA. Yet again, we see major racketeering and criminal and gang activity by city officials, right? Not by law enforcement in this particular case, but again, by people that the city attorney's office is supposed to be prosecuting when they do stuff like canceling a official government meeting without proper notice, and doing so repeatedly for almost a full year, and denying people the ability to file grievances with their government. And on that same topic of being denied your right to petition and file your grievances with your government and redress them, I went over to the Central Division LAPD station to file a criminal report against Heidi Feldstein Soto for her criminal activities in the past year and a half. And wouldn't you know it, all three officers actually refused to even take my crime report, okay? So I talked to Detective Tier 3 at the desk, and I have his serial number. He refused to take the crime report. He had this big old grin on his face, and he was just expecting and waiting for me to do some stupid move, right? Say something dumb and make myself look like a fool, emotionally lash out. That clearly didn't happen, so he clearly didn't get his rocks off. And here's where he messed up royally, though, okay? He admitted, right, in the heat of the moment, he admitted that he talked about the crime report I was trying to file against Heidi and her accomplices to two other lieutenants, and not just any regular lieutenants, Lieutenant 2s, okay? So there's 1, 2, and 3, right? 3 being the higher tiers. He talked to two other tier 2 lieutenants, and all 3 of these guys conspired and refused to take my crime report. All 3 of them told me they're refusing to take my crime report and told me to go kick rocks, essentially. And so that's where he messed up. I got him, and I have the serial numbers for him, as well as the 2 other lieutenants that conspired to not allow me to file a crime report. A crime report is just simply that. It's essentially just a complaint explaining that you believe XYZ happened. Regardless of whether it's true or not, you still are entitled to file the complaint. You're entitled to submit it. Whether or not the agency does anything with it is not the purpose at all. The purpose really is just that you filed the complaint, you have the right to file the complaint, and you do your due diligence so it's on the official record as you filing such complaint for further consideration of prosecution. And that prosecution might not happen by the city attorney's office in the case where the perpetrator is the city attorney, but it could be some other government agency that decides to pick up that record, and it's added to their internal database, accessible by members of the DOJ and so forth. And so that's what I was denied, and that's what happened yesterday. Fear not, the crime report against Heidi will be made. Her name will be attached to an incident ID number. There's more than one way and more than one place to submit a crime report, even if it's you don't have to necessarily file it at the station where the incident occurred. You can file it at any other station, and you bet your ass that's exactly what I'm going to do. And so eventually at some point, Heidi's name will be tied to a direct incident ID number. Just like those 3 officers, I'll file a complaint against them, and I'll have a CF number for them. And just like how Sergeant Lee Perry still owes me a CF number for my complaint, he thinks I'm going to forget. I'm 100% not going to forget. I'm waiting on that CF number. I'm going to see them on Tuesday to complain about this very same problem and make damn sure that they give me my CF number. And I'm going to get that incident ID against Heidi and her accomplices for doing the criminal insane nonsense that she's been doing for the past year, just in the Scientology stuff alone, let alone all the fraudulent behavior that she and her office have deliberately allowed to go on and continue for years and years and years, and not prosecute any of these city officials that have engaged in all this criminal behavior to commit massive and wide-scale fraud. And so, welcome to LA, right? This is, you have a judge that needed to recuse himself and apparently didn't know, and specifically where they worked. I'll tell you that right now because I got that information. So here is how these two guys know each other. They specifically, it was because the judge and the former deputy worked as a inspector general over at the LAPD commission, as well as a adjunct professor. And so that's how they know each other. And somehow, some ways, that was somehow forgotten. Again, I'm glad the judge said so. It was very professional, but that was completely overlooked. So there you go. The sentencing was pushed out. He did plead guilty, so there is that. But yeah. And then I think I have one more further update. Last thing I had an update on. Oh, actually, yes. While I was in the federal courthouse, I met the same prosecutor that attended the Attorney General's public meeting a long while back at the other courthouse building, where a bunch of us came in, and I was announcing it over Twitter. I forget his name. He's the Asian dude, same Asian guy that helped prosecute Weezar. He was he totally remembered me, and he was just surprised that I would run into him right in the hallway. And I told him I remember exactly who he is, and he 100% remembered the event, and exactly 100% remembered exactly what went on that day, and all the people that came to show up support. And so it was hilarious. I ran into the guy that we made our complaints to from the U.S. Attorney's Office for all of the victims of Scientology, and then chatted with him a little bit afterwards too. So you never know who you're going to run into. Like, being here is just 99% of the battle. The rest is, actually following through and submitting your letters of complaint. Which brings me to my last topic, as far as actually submitting letters of complaint. So my complaint against Heidi and the LAPD so far has gone to the OIG, LAPD itself, and today I served a copy over to the senator's office as well. And soon enough, I'll be visiting the local office for the governor, as well as one other person. Let's see, we've got the senator, the governor, and the U.S. attorneys as well. So I'll be filing a copy with the U.S. Attorney's Office, aka the DOJ. So there you go. I'm making sure every agency is served. Not only my complaint with Heidi, but all the Brown Act violation complaints that I've had. I'll be serving a copy to them as well to make sure everybody has all my complaint letters, and then we'll see what they do with that afterwards. So. But yeah, the senator's office today did in fact receive it. They gave me a scanned copy and stamped copy afterwards. I have a couple of the contact emails for the staffers as well in there, and they read the headline on it, and immediately you could see their eyes just perked with big interest. They're like, oh crap, what's all this nonsense? And so big things are coming. It's just a matter of following through. And, when you say you're going to do something, you go ahead and do it. So that's all I got for you guys. I think all the other recaps I had, I already touched on. I was primarily at the court building, and then streamed some of the public comment periods at city council and so on. The last thing, I guess, is when I went to make my public comment during the regular city council meeting today, they had a bunch of presentations, and they resumed the official taking of public comment at around 12. They saw me in the room immediately. We had public comment cut off, despite everybody else giving their public comment. So I don't know. I don't know if they just hate me that much or what the case is, but it was pretty goofy. Talked to Duarte. He thought it was goofy too. Talked to him about the nonsense over at Central Station, and he's like, yeah, these guys are just idiots doing this kind of, pettiness. And that's the whole point. That's all I wanted to show being there. I knew that there was a 99.99 chance that goofiness was going to happen, but you need to show it, record it on camera, so eventually all this nonsense, when the judge reads the pleading and hears the oral arguments, you can't ever say that I didn't try, and you can't ever say that I wanted, to work in good faith, whereas the city did not. And frankly, the judges out here, particularly the federal judges, absolutely hate the city. I mean, they're fed up with this place. So there's that. And with that, guys, I'll see if anybody has any questions. If not, then we'll just call it a day and move on. So I'll go ahead and read your comments on the back end here. So somebody says, do you get the impression they will have the proverbial head out of there? No, the Olympics is going to be way worse. Way worse. Absolutely way worse. Somebody said, the Albanian News Network, dude, I got to change that. I'm going to take that one. That's a great. Oh my God, dude, that's fantastic. The Albanian News Network. All right. And somebody else said, "Oh, I don't even. I'm at a loss for words, man. That's freaking hilarious. So I'm gonna roll with that." Somebody says nobody can say I did not do 100%. Yeah, I mean that's the whole point of all this. So. Alright, that's all I got for you guys. I'm going to cut it off here, so you guys enjoy. I think Will is going to be streaming over at the info center. I'll be there and saying hello. Got my scooter all charged up and ready to go, so. Alright, peace out, guys. Take care. Have a good one.